Hey there, compliance rockstars. Let's dive into one of the most important and surprisingly easy parts of setting up your employee training manager. We're going to walk through how to create roles and then link those roles to the competencies your people need, both mandatory and desirable. This step is the secret sauce behind making your skills matrix work and keeping your compliance tracking on point. It's quick to do, but it makes a massive difference when you're managing training across a team or a whole business. And remember, roles and competencies aren't just about traditional training. This is where you track everything: skills, licenses, tickets, work instructions, safe work procedures. Anything your team needs to stay compliant in their role. Let's just jump over to the role icon. As you can see, we've already got some roles set up in the system. These have been created to match real job functions in the business. Creating a role is really straightforward. You just click Add a Role and then create the title of the new role. Best practice is to ensure that the title is descriptive and not an abbreviation. I'm going to name this role Senior Safety Advisor. You can pop in a short description here. This helps future admins understand who this role applies to and when to use it. You might also want to link this role to a specific site, especially if this person works on-site regularly. That way, the role covers not only the mandatory requirements for the job itself, but also any additional requirements specific to the client or site they're working on. All right, let's go ahead and save and close this role. Now we've got our Senior Safety Advisor set up for Barrow Island. You'll notice that Employee Training Manager is giving us a little heads up. It's showing that there are currently no competencies linked to this role yet. See these buttons? The orange one tells you how many mandatory competencies are assigned, and the yellow one shows how many desirable ones there are. Right now, this role has no boxes, therefore you are not tracking any competencies, but let's jump in and change this now. Now we go ahead and start adding some competencies so we can properly map and track the Senior Safety Advisor Josh Barrow Island role. Click on the little edit button and you'll see the role is still empty for now. To start building it out, we head over to the Mandatory Requirements tab. When you're creating a role profile like this, it's important to think about a few key things. First, what's the legal requirement for this person to do the job safely and compliantly? We'll begin by adding the Diploma of Health and Safety. Depending on your country or state, a formal qualification is often a legal requirement for this type of role. Next, think about what your company requirements are. For this example, let's say they'll need a driver's license, since they'll be moving between sites, and they'll probably also need first aid and CPR. Now let's add some of the company and site-specific inductions, like the warehouse induction, the head office induction, and of course, the Barrow Island induction. Just keep in mind, when setting up any role, you want to think in three parts: what's legally required for the job, what your company expects, and what your client sites require, because every site can be a little different. And just like that, we've got a solid profile set up. It's really as simple as clicking Add and Close. Now you can see a clear list of mandatory requirements that a Senior Safety Advisor might need to meet. Let's move over and add some desirables. Think of it this way: mandatory means must have, while desirables are the nice to have. Desirable competencies add flexibility to your skills matrix by highlighting extra capabilities that aren't essential but can be valuable in certain situations. They help identify team members who can step up, take on more responsibility, or adapt to changing needs. All right, now let's go ahead and add a few desirables. Just click the Add Desirables, then choose the desirable competency you'd like this role to have, and hit Save and Close. That's it. Super simple, but really effective. Now you've got a complete role profile set up for a Senior Safety Advisor on Barrow Island that you have mapped to role requirements, and now Employee Training Manager is tracking. That was really easy, right? So, are you ready to throw away your spreadsheet yet? Let's move on and allocate this role to an employee. Click into the employee's profile. You'll see this person doesn't have a role assigned yet, so let's go ahead and add one. You can allocate a role either through the main portal or directly from the employee's profile, but this time we're going to do it through the employee's profile. Head over to the Roles section, click Add Role, and choose the one we just set up. It gets added to the employees list straight away. You can assign more than one role to an employee if needed, but for now, we're just going to stick with one. Click Add, then Select, and there it is, role assigned. And just like that, you can now see that Employee Training Manager is automatically tracking all the mandatory and desirable requirements for this role. This is where the real power of the system kicks in, because this setup is what drives your training and skills matrix. So let's run a quick matrix report and take a look at how it's working. Let's go ahead and click on Reports, and this time we'll select the company matrix. By default, the Employee Training Manager matrix will show each employee's mandatory and desirable competencies. I'm just going to open it up and check how it's currently set. This gives us a quick snapshot of any filters that might already be applied. Okay, once you open up the matrix, you'll notice this one doesn't have any filters applied yet, so it's going to run a full, company-wide matrix by default. But what we want to do here is add the details of the employee's role into the matrix. That way, you can see exactly who's been allocated to which role in the report. Just like with all Employee Training Manager reports, you've got the option to preview it on screen or export it to Excel. For now, we're going to keep it simple and just hit Preview. And there it is, our training and skills matrix. You can clearly see the allocation of the Senior Safety Advisor role, and it's now tracking all the mandatory requirements linked to that role. One of the best things about our matrices is that they're live, so any updates you make are reflected instantly. For example, if Fred Bear's CPR shows as expired and you go in and upload a new certificate to update that outcome, the next time you run the matrix, it will automatically show as compliant. No need to manually refresh anything. ETM keeps it all up to date for you. Just to recap, we've created a role, assigned both mandatory and desirable competencies, and allocated that role to an employee. Then we saw how that flows straight through to the training and skills matrix, giving you live, up-to-date compliance tracking. In the next video, we'll show you how to add outcomes and attach evidence into Employee Training Manager, so you can keep building out your system like a pro. Until then, stay smart, keep compliant, and being audit ready every day, not just on audit day.